Oh. Oh. Oh, what am I saying? All right, so how does it work? There's so many colors. How am I supposed to get over there? How's that? I'm Erick Baker, and I've spent my life crossing the Southeast on tour as a singer-songwriter. But I recently realized I was always headed to the next town instead of seeing the sights along the way. So I teamed up with my friend Ariel and Nicole to check out what we've been missing. There's a place you've never been that's right where you want to be.
We hope to take you to places you never knew existed or where you've always dreamed of going.
Uncharted. As is often the case in the English language, the word delta can claim quite a few meanings. In some instances, delta can refer to a flat plain created from rich mineral deposits at the mouth of a river. In other situations, the word delta stands as a symbol of change. And in the small community of Cleveland, Mississippi, I've come to find the word embodies both.
Bounce with me, baby. Get down and shake it. Bounce with me, girl. All around the world.
You see, the soil of this fertile floodplain has served as the site of sharecropping and civil rights, bearing fruits of historical and cultural significance beyond measure. In the midst of adversity, forms of expression have found their voice and echoed out across the tumultuous topography, timeline, and trends of our 2 centuries as Americans. These days, the tradition continues to hold true, as more than just soybeans rise out of the soil that sustained these small communities for so long. In fact, a new generation has emerged, defined by their gumption as much as their goodwill. And luckily, their seeds are being sown in fertile ground. When it comes to tending to tradition and trying to pass it on, it's important to celebrate as much as it is to cultivate. We can learn quite a bit by looking back over what we've accomplished. But if we fail to equip those who have yet to head out into the fields, we simply can't expect much of a harvest. For Mayor Billy Noel, the blues means a lot more than just music. It's a method for making sense of our struggles and a melody for moving on. Which is why making a home for the Grammy Museum in Cleveland was as much about the past as it was about the future. Driving by the building is striking. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful building.
It's so modern, as you can imagine, being a southern town like this.
Right.
It really took everybody back at first, but when they started driving by here at night and it was lit up and the room was filled with people and all, people bought in real quick. We've got really a diamond here, and we need to take advantage of it.
Why Cleveland, Mississippi?
A lot of people would ask that question, but it's pretty easy. When we were thinking about what could set us apart, we were working with a guy named Alan Hammonds from Greenwood, Mississippi. He said, why don't we see if the Grammy Museum is interested? And I said, yeah, sure. I know they'll be really interested in coming to Cleveland, Mississippi. So we went and met with them, and lo and behold, they said, well, yeah, we'll come look, because that is the birthplace of American music. Elvis Presley, B.B. King, just on and on and on.
And what are the goals of this?
We want to enlighten some children that have not had the opportunity to have things like this to come to. And we hope at some time, and we dream of the day that we may have a Grammy winner that has worked in this museum and be part of the Mississippi Delta.
You know, I know you were very influential in making this happen. Early on, some of the challenges you faced, and I guess kind of what all went into making sure this...
Well, we went to our governor at the time, and that was Haley Barbour, and he said, Billy, if y'all will put some skin in the game, we will see what the state can do. So we have a lot of people in our area that believe in our mission and put up some big money to help us get this started.
I hear all this music playing. I know
Right.
there's a wealth of stuff in there.
It is.
I'd love to walk around with you and,
Let's do it.
and check it
Let's
out.
do it.
You
Okay.
lead the way, man.
All right.
All right? And these are my fellow
These are Mississippi, all
brothers
Mississippi.
and
Right.
sisters.
Right.
All Mississippi, right?
All
Okay.
Mississippi.
Man, it's a bunch of them.
Yeah, I would say so. That's when you say the birthplace of music, but I'm sure Tennessee would be just as many, but it's a lot of names there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've never actually seen one up close. Man. Right on. My big break was opening up for him, actually.
Did you really?
Yep, for John Legend. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a cool thing right there
Yeah.
for me. I sang 6 songs
Yeah, well, he
in,
sung.
in 30 minutes, and it completely changed my life.
I can see why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after that, I made my first record, and
Yeah.
but it gave me like that validation.
Right.
Next Eric Baker concert, right there. You look so good from across the room. I'd like to be your friend for a little while. Let's go dancing. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I got in trouble. I was feeling the blues too much. Sorry. The older I get, the more I come to see how many subjects are fed by a steady stream of muddy waters. As nice as it would be if things were crystal clear, we're bound to hit waves every once in a while, and inevitably, a little sediment gets kicked up along the way. But the truth of the matter is, it's this very soil that sustains us, as opposed to sullying what would otherwise be sparkling clean. And around these parts, this life lesson holds true in a very literal way.
Gonna make pretty women jump and shout.
Muddy Waters is much more than just a metaphor. In fact, he's musical royalty. But just like the Deer Creek he was found knee-deep in so often as a child, his journey was marked by many rises and falls. He started on Stovall Plantation as a sharecropper, and like so many souls, headed to church looking to find faith, but found his voice instead.
Just don't work on you.
He was discovered rather serendipitously and set off to Chicago a few years later, looking to make a name for himself as well as a record. He struggled and stretched, toiled and tumbled, but ultimately topped the charts for more than a decade and set into motion the likes of the Rolling Stones, Cream, and Fleetwood Mac. The other thing about Muddy Waters, they rarely stand still. We can't always understand why they twist and turn the way they do, but ultimately, they take you to a destination. For Muddy Waters, the musician, his namesake flowed through his notes until the day he died. But for a new generation of musicians, his influence will continue to ripple through time.
Muddy Waters is my great-grandfather. Grew up in the same house, you know, that he was in. And,
Yes.
Most of, you know, all my favorite childhood memories are with him. Seeing him jam out at different concerts and having the Rolling Stone and ZZ Top come over by the house. I didn't understand who these people were, but I just knew that music was important to him. It
Right.
became something that was very important to me, and I'm sure you know, anytime you're passionate about something, it's like that monkey on your back. You can't get it off.
Yeah.
And so music was that thing for me. Came down here to be the nuclear spokesperson for Grand Gulf Nuclear Station, right? And they say
So that's what brought you down here then?
originally.
Okay.
And this position kind of just fell in my lap.
And what is your position exactly?
I'm the marketing communications manager for Grammy Museum, Mississippi now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you know this area, or had you visited it, or?
No. That's
okay.
what's so weird, and
Okay.
that's what's like divine intervention. Basically, we're in the backyard of where my grandfather was a sharecropper. When I found all that out, that was after I got here. I was like, it's divine intervention. It was meant for me to be here, and I always feel him all around me.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Oh, it's kind of like you've come home in a way, right?
It's like a full circle moment. I just imagine what it was like, my grandfather walking on some of the dirt roads here and things of that nature, and how do you come from being, you know, a sharecropper and your mom and dad being a slave to being one of the world's most famous blues musicians in the world. It's out of this world to me. It really is amazing.
Just don't wake on you.
I've personally spent plenty of years proving the truth of the words starving artist. I've seen several seasons where the celebration of a great set quickly wore off as we spent our last few cents fueling up for the next city. Some would say experiences like these build character. I wouldn't disagree, but I'd also add that they build material. There's nothing to help set a pen to paper quite like struggle, and for a songwriter, sometimes that's all there is.
So Uncle and Aunt Pup, and I refer to them as Uncle and Aunt, they're really godparents. So
Okay.
we're not blood related, but our families were close for generations, and so consequently they became like family.
Totally.
Of course, both artists.
Right.
And we're very particular about being artists, but there was a balance between art and business, obviously. And they didn't believe in signs. So there they kind of erred on the side of art. So they believed that if you make something of quality, people will find you. So they never had a sign, didn't have a sign at the restaurant as well. And that was just kind of that quirky little artistic view of things.
Right.
And that's how they ran
That's
things.
crazy.
So, yeah.
You know, business people are like hearing that and just going, oh, and now you're the business guy, right?
We've never done any kind of advertising whatsoever. It's strictly word of mouth.
Love it.
So-
So you said you're doing the same hours?
Same everything.
Man, carrying
Yeah.
on the tradition, that legacy. Why are people coming here?
And Uncle Lee was asked this question once by a writer who is not from our area. And the writer anticipated an artistic answer. He thought Uncle Lee would say something along the lines of, well, it's the black squiggly mark, it's the glazes, it's the uniqueness of the formulas.
Totally.
But that wasn't Uncle Lee's answer. He gave an answer that is typical for the Mississippi Delta. And he said, and this is certainly true, what makes McCarty's unique is that it reminds people of home. It is a sense of place. And that's true. And so many of the folks who collect our pieces do so because it reminds them of the Mississippi Delta. It reminds them of that connection with the Delta, with the state of Mississippi, and ultimately with home.
When you drink out of that glass, or when you,
For me, it reminds me of my childhood. You know, it's that memory, you know, and it's that love. And also, of course, through love comes joy. And Uncle and Aunt Pup love life. And there's a joy to be had in life that, you know, unfortunately, in this day and age, everybody's so busy with the 21st century and our technological devices that sometimes I think we forget to enjoy life. And they enjoyed it. And that love and that joy came through their work because they loved it.
What is McCarty's today, though?
It is as it was. And that is the challenge.
So I'm going to be teaching you how to throw some pottery today. Looks like you're already getting started. Really great job here. Really great job. So I was talking to Steven outside. He gave you a compliment.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he said that you are the artist.
I owe him some
here.
more money now.
Right? So,
Yes.
I mean, I love it. And I'm already seeing it, man. That's amazing.
It works really well because it's a bright line of distinction. You know, I take it from raw clay to finished piece, and he gets it after that. If you ask me how much something is, I don't even know the prices.
Really?
Yep.
You don't like walk around and you say, you should be charging more. My time, because that's the whole thing. There's a lot of time in this, right?
You know, there's time, and I mean, I don't know. Some people call it work. To me, this is the fun part. So,
I guess just some of your back story. You know, the making pottery. You know, I know you grew up in the shop here, right?
Yep. Actually, Uncle Lee's wheel is right where I am, and right where he's sitting is where I had a little wheel.
Okay.
And which was just like this one. You know, the designs have not changed in forever.
Okay.
And that's when I just started messing around. And the first things I did looked very much like you would expect a 5-year-old to make, you know. I just messed around with it forever. Whenever we'd come home for the holidays, because Steve and I went off to boarding school, I'd get on the wheel and mess around with it. And I just sort of kept my hand in it like that, you know, just periodically. And when I was working for IBM in Atlanta, Chastain Arts offered pottery classes. And so I just decided in the afternoons or at night, I'd go over there and get a little better.
So you're working at IBM, big corporate job.
Yeah, exactly.
You're taking these night classes, improving. I guess at that point it's a hobby, pottery.
It is a hobby at that point, but I loved it. It was fun, and I always, you know, knew that I really wasn't going to settle down until I ended up coming home. You know, you can take a boy out of the Delta, but you can't take the Delta out of the boy. And that sort of guided me. And I guess you could say subconsciously, whatever you want to call it, I was working towards this, even when I was at IBM.
I'm nervous.
No. All right, so water on the hands, water is your friend.
Okay. Water is my friend.
Then we'll put some goo on there too, because goo is good.
All right, goo is good. Try and get all the way around it, or just like on the...
No, go ahead and touch it. You can overlap your fingers if you need to. Okay. Ready? Here we go. Let's go up with it.
I'm going up?
Yep, go up. Perfect. There you can let go slowly. Good. Okay, now. All right, so now we're gonna let it. Oh, just wait. It's a lot more beautiful in a minute. Start going up just a little. Just follow it. All right, you can start letting go. All right, very good. You're holding it. Go down a little. What we're trying to do is keep it from wobbling while I start putting pressure on it. Then go ahead and touch it. Don't let go until I say so. Yay. See, no wobble. This is why we do it the way we do it.
Awesome. So cool.
Isn't that fun?
Just a few minutes ago, that was just a
Two big old
ball, right? Two big old clumps. Yep. Man, I now, for the first, I have the Delta under my nails.
Exactly.
Right? I feel it, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very well.
So
Thank
much,
you, man. Appreciate y'all coming.
I really appreciate it.
There's a sink over there, and you know where the towel is.
Hey, I'm just gonna leave it. Come on, high five, Tony. Yes. All right. Mississippi Delta, high five. Yes. It took me too many years to learn that the imperfections make it great. But for Lee and Putt McCarty, those words were set in stone from the very beginning. I, too, grew up in an area defined by flat plains and farmland. And for many years, I found the only redeeming thing about them to be the unobstructed view they provided for my plans to get out. These days, though, when I return home, I bask where I used to bake. Where I used to feel parched, I can now see I was poised. You see, the thing about plains is, it's easy to shed light on something great. And for the students at Houston High School and their solar-powered Sundancer, these same rays have helped set something significant into motion. Sundancer, I'm looking around. My first question, where does the gas go?
Nowhere, it's runs off solar.
It's the joke, there's no gas tank.
That's right.
All right, I see batteries.
That's right. Lithium phosphate batteries.
Okay.
Looking to upgrade to lithium ion batteries this year. That's gonna take a little money, but we're gonna get it. because we're going to finish this race across the continent of Australia.
You're going to Australia?
We hope to go to Australia very soon.
You've already been, right?
Already been 3 times. This team has.
That's the world.
That's the world challenge, correct.
Competing against?
Colleges, high schools, anybody who has a solar car.
From all over the world?
All over the world.
Man, that is amazing, from Mississippi to Australia.
Mm-hmm. Every even year, they have what's called a cross country. We start at Dallas-Fort Worth every year. Been to LA several times, New York, Cocoa Beach, Boulder, Colorado, and this year it was LA. So we got to go across the Mojave, Guadalupe Pass.
It's a race though, right?
It is, and you have a start and stop point every day. Started in Dallas, and first day I've then forgotten where, but that's where you pick up the next day and you go to the next city and the next city and the next city.
You're not driving, right? There's
I'm not driving.
A team behind this.
It's high school kids, aged 16 to 18. I help them throughout the year, but when it comes to race time, I'm hands off. I'm just there to guide. They fix, they drive, they charge, they do everything.
Do you rebuild it every year, or can you use the same car over and over? So, I mean, we were talking about those 16 wins. Is it the same car, or has it been rebuilt?
This car was built in about 2010-11 time frame, and the original car is here, but over the years we've had to modify it. Every year you have to modify your car. There's no way around that because rules change. And you know, we've got new batteries, new power trackers, had to modify our car here.
Okay.
So, I mean, you know, every year I take the kids and we tear something out and we rebuild it. So all the kids know just about everything about the car.
Is there other schools in Mississippi that have one of these? I mean, how rare is this?
At one time, there was a Choctaw team, Newton County team, Houston team, and I'm thinking another one. But now, this past year, we're the only one that raced.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean they're gone. That just means they may be taking a step back, regrouping, coming back next year.
Okay. And then they got to deal with Sundancer.
That's right.
Does every car look like this, or does everybody do their own design?
Everybody does their own design. There's no limit. The only limit is height and width and length.
Okay.
It's limited to your imagination.
Awesome, man. Well, if I can get behind the wheel of this, that would be great.
Okay, well, let's go.
So the first question I have is, where's the air conditioner?
We don't have none.
No air conditioner.
We used to have a little CPU fan about where your right shoulder is, but it just fell off just recently. You know,
perfect, great. But you're driving hours at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. And I mean, you're constantly, Jay was saying, you're having to look at all kinds of gauges and can't remember the names that he said, but you know, I mean, you're having to be focused, which would be really hard for me. But I mean, that's a challenge, right? I mean,
yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's hard not to get restless, you know, in that tiny car. Because a lot of people think heat...
I'm already ready to get out.
Yeah. A lot of people think, like, heat is the main issue, and heat is an issue, but really the main issue... I mean, I can deal with the heat, but it's the problem of being cramped in there and not, you know, necessarily being super, super comfortable.
Okay.
You know, you just have to keep from being restless. And, you know, a lot of times if you spend a lot of time in an uncomfortable position, you know, you'll start feeling tired. You know, you want to get out. It's just, you just have to keep focused. You have to think of it like an actual race, you know, just keep going.
What do you think you would, I mean, what were your plans before Sundancer?
Just go to work, I guess, but now it's made me want to go to college and figure out how to do more stuff like this.
So, I mean, what are y'all going to be solar car racers, you know, for the rest of your life, or what are y'all going to do after Houston High School?
I'm definitely interested in electric transportation, definitely. I mean, I've always been kind of interested, but going on this race has really piqued my interest, so I want to deal with something, you know, related to that, because I understand these electric cars better, and I think that, you know, they're going to get more and more popular as fossil fuels run out. And it's just...
Look out, Mississippi, because here I come. Sundancer is ready to dance in the streets. Yeah! Rolling. Sundancer is rolling. Houston, Mississippi. How you doing? I feel like if this was a race, I would definitely be winning. Thank you, Sun. Thank you, Sun God. So I guess, you know, as we got these, you know, we got Sundancer behind us, you know, why is this important to TVA? Y'all are a sponsor.
Oh, yeah.
And
from TVA's perspective, I mean, as time goes on, we're retiring. So we've got to have a future, and we've got to invest in the future because our marketplace is changing. Our technologies are changing. And so if you think about it, we've got bright students here in Houston, Mississippi, you know, competing and taking care of business on the road out west.
I know. And, so the pride in that, I guess.
Oh, yeah, we're proud of these kids. We're proud of what TVA has done, bringing solar generation.
It's a lot to be proud of, truly. I mean, here in Mississippi and throughout the whole valley. And man, thank you guys for leaving the light on for us all. All right, for real. Yeah, great talking to y'all, for real. The waters may be shifting and the river traffic missing, but we've not seen the last of Mississippi. No, not by a long shot. Because just like the righteous rivers that flank this fertile land, the rains may come and go, but a rise is close at hand. As I left Cleveland in my rearview mirror, a few refrains of a once again familiar song began to play in my mind. I could hear Muddy's voice as he moaned, "I'm ready, ready as anybody can be. I'm ready for you. I hope you're ready for me."